Understanding the difference between a fable and a parable. 1. Definition of a fable. A fable is a short narrative or story, typically featuring anthropomorphic animals, mythical creatures, plants, inanimate objects, or forces of nature as characters. Fables often convey moral lessons or messages through allegory, using fictional characters and settings to teach ethical principles, virtues, or life lessons. 2. Characteristics of a fable. Fables are characterized by their simplicity, often presenting a clear moral or lesson at the end of the story. They are timeless tales passed down through oral tradition or written literature, appealing to both children and adults with their engaging narratives and universal themes. 3. Example of a fable. A well-known example of a fable is The Tortoise and the Hare, where a slow-moving tortoise challenges a swift hare to a race. The hare, overconfident in its speed, takes a nap during the race, allowing the persistent tortoise to win. The moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race. 4. Definition of a parable. A parable is a short, simple story that illustrates a moral or spiritual lesson, often drawn from everyday life experiences. Parables are grounded in realistic scenarios and human interactions, aiming to provoke thought, reflection, or a change in behavior or perspective. 5. Characteristics of a parable. Parables are known for their metaphorical or symbolic elements, using ordinary situations or familiar settings to convey deeper truths or spiritual teachings. They challenge listeners to draw parallels between the story's narrative and their own lives, fostering personal introspection and moral contemplation. 6. Example of a parable. An example of a parable is The Good Samaritan, where a traveler is robbed, beaten, and left half dead on the roadside. Passers-by, including religious figures, ignore him, but a Samaritan stops to help, demonstrating compassion and mercy. The moral of the parable is, love your neighbor as yourself. 7. Differences in characters and settings. The primary difference between fables and parables lies in their characters and settings. Fables often feature fictional or anthropomorphic characters in imaginary or fantastical settings, whereas parables use realistic human characters in everyday life contexts. 8. Moral and philosophical context. Fables focus on teaching moral lessons through allegorical storytelling, using animals or mythical beings to illustrate virtues and vices. In contrast, parables emphasize spiritual or ethical teachings through relatable human experiences, encouraging deeper reflection and personal application of lessons learned. 9. Cultural and literary significance. Fables have a rich cultural history across various civilizations, including Aesop's fables from ancient Greece and Panchatantra tales from India. Parables hold significant religious and philosophical importance, particularly in traditions such as Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam, where they serve as vehicles for moral and spiritual guidance. 10. Educational and inspirational value. Both fables and parables continue to be valued for their educational, moral, and inspirational content. They provide timeless wisdom, encourage critical thinking, and promote ethical behavior, making them enduring literary forms cherished for their ability to impart enduring truths through storytelling.